Good morning, everyone. We're using microphones this morning again because LISD TV is here and taping this for us, and we very much appreciate the crew being here from the LISD TV. We think we've got a very important and timely topic to discuss this morning. It's interesting to me that every month District 6400 Rotary puts out a update or a newsletter from our governor. The one for October 1st on the front page. Our area of focus for October is community economic development. Approximately 795 million people, or 1 in 9 people in the world, do not have enough food to eat. 60% of the world's hungry people are women and girls. So one of the primary focus of Rotary throughout the world is food and nourishment. Our Rotary Club has been involved with this effort for, I'm going to say, about 15 years. And we were kind of almost shamed into it because a young student from Adrian Public Schools came to one of our meetings years ago with his mom. As I recall, he was in upper elementary at the time, and he realized that some of his classmates didn't have food to eat. So he was starting a weekend snack sack project so he could send snacks home with his classmates that needed some extra nourishment for the weekend. Well, when that young man got done that morning, we kind of were put to shame as adults, and we said, yeah, we'll make a contribution, but my God, we got to get doing more than that. So we started our weekend snack sack program. Unfortunately, it has grown and grown and grown. We're sending home weekend snack sacks with about 50 kids in the Madison School District each week, and we're up to 420 kids in the Adrian Public School system. These are primarily all elementary kids, a few middle school students. It's become more than a $20,000 project for our Rotary Club. Thankfully, we've had some great community supporters that have provided some grants and helped us out to fund that, but a number of our own financial resources go into the program as well, too. So we've long recognized that there's a serious food dependency need in this community, and we're trying to do what we can, but it's a big project. We're very pleased this morning to have 3 guests with us that are going to help enlighten us and share their perspectives on what they're doing to help address the need. To my immediate right is Diane Herr. Diane wants you to know that she's made presentations like this numerous times. She is delighted to be here. She's just a little bit nervous, but we're going to be great. Vicki Pfeffer from the MSU Extension Office, and Jim Southard from the Daily Bread. And I've asked Vicki if she would kind of kick things off for us and give us the perspective, a little broader perspective. Then the other two will talk more about their agencies, and we'll have an opportunity for some questions later on. So thank you again for being with us.
Thank you so much. As Jim said, I work as a community nutrition instructor for Michigan State University Extension. I work under the federal SNAP Ed grant. So what I do in my everyday life, I travel all over Lenawee County, and I teach whoever is in my midst about nutrition and the importance of physical activity. So that puts me in the schools quite a bit. One of the resources that I brought today, you'll find on your table, I brought the list of what we would consider SNAP eligible schools in Lenawee County. Those are the schools that are highlighted in yellow. In order for me to take programming into a school, it must be more than 50% eligible for free and reduced. As you can see, that's most of our schools. We do a fair amount of nutrition and physical activity programming in many of the schools. I am one person, I can't get everywhere, but we try to switch it around so that we find that most of the students have that benefit. But I also teach cooking classes. I'm doing a lot of work at the senior centers in recent days. A lot of our high-rise buildings, I'll take nutrition programming and cooking opportunities there as well. I do a lot of collaborative work with ProMedica Farms. We had a nutrition and gardening class there last spring. And we have big plans to do a lot more of that in the coming months. But for today's purpose, I also want you to know that I'm currently the chair of Hunger Free Lenawee, which is our food pantry coalition here in the county. It is an off-branch of the Lenawee Essential Needs Council, which is a part of the bigger collective impact model that some of you might be aware of. Hunger Free Lenawee was formed, I could not find the specific year, but it was somewhere around 2012, 2013. The idea was a place for any kind of food insecurity issues to come and be a collective mindset. So it really has grown to be a support system for our food pantries, food distribution sites, and soup kitchens. Right now, another resource that you'll find on your table is that list. Believe it or not, there are, I believe, 19 food pantries in Lenawee County. You'll see them all illustrated there. They have varying populations and varying dates and times of service, from very small closets in churches to much bigger and broader programs. And trust me when I say there is not enough time this morning to talk about all of the amazing work that these food pantries and soup kitchens do. We have a monthly meeting. It's the first Tuesday of every month. In recent years, we've moved that meeting around. We meet somewhere different every single month. We either meet at a food pantry or a food distribution site, or we meet at an agency that is dealing with hunger and food insecurity. Yesterday, we had a nice presentation from 211, that agency through United Way, and the way that they are an incredible resource for people who are looking for food or need food, and the way that food pantries can make sure that their information is up to date. As I said, Hunger Free Lenawee is sort of a time and an opportunity for people that work in food pantries, as well as folks that are honestly lived experience with food pantries. We come together in the same room. They share best practices. We help to troubleshoot issues, and we learn about what one another is doing. Although 19 feels like a really big number, I can guarantee you that no one is duplicating efforts. The need is that broad. I want to let Jim kind of take it for a moment and give his perspective from the Daily Bread.
So the Daily Bread is we're a soup kitchen and a pantry. We have both services under one roof at our location. We serve meals 5 days a week, Tuesday through Saturday, from 11:30 to 2. Last year, the Daily Bread provided it was a little over 31,000 meals for the entire year. And so far this year, I've already surpassed about 38,000 meals, and we have another quarter to go. So I'm projecting about 50,000 meals that we're going to serve this year, right out of the Daily Bread. And 50,000, to just kind of get a visual, that would be like putting a meal in every seat at the grandstand at MIS. That's how many meals just my agency is providing. And as she said, there's 19 pantries total, but just those are the numbers just coming out of the Daily Bread alone.
Those are huge numbers, and that growth and that increase in service is what we're hearing from every pantry in the county. Their numbers are increasing exponentially. We think that a good portion of that cause is the stoppage of a lot of the COVID supplementation that families had in recent months. That has gone away. So they're finding that their budgets are just not stretching.
And I think those do have a lot to do with the correlation we saw. Our numbers really jumped in April, and then the COVID supplement ended in March. So that's telling that really played a big factor in it. And the people that I'm seeing coming through the pantry and the soup kitchen are It's a different demographic than what has been coming through years past. We're seeing more senior citizens utilizing our pantry. I had a lady come in the other day and just tell me, I've never had to ask for help like this in my life. And I'm not even sure where to come and what to do. And I heard, you on the radio a while back, and, I figured this is where I would start. So, and of course, we're happy to help everyone. And if there's something you need that my agency doesn't provide, I am happy to make referrals to other agencies, which is what makes Hunger Free Lenawee really good, is that we kind of know what each other's doing. So if there's something that, another pantry has something that I don't, I'll make a referral, to another pantry, and they do for me too. They provide the packaged food to take home, and then they refer to me to have actually a prepared hot meal. So we work together to try to make sure we serve everyone. The number last year, and I know it's up from now, but they haven't put the data together, but last year we had just over 20,000 people who are experiencing food insecurity in Lenawee County. I predict that number to be more around 30,000, but we'll see when the data comes through. But based on the numbers that I'm seeing at my pantry and soup kitchen, that's looking like where the direction we're heading. One thing we're worried about is, currently, the inflation rate is so high. I think, everyone's been to the grocery store and has bought groceries in the last, over the last year, and, the inflation hits us too. It doesn't, the food bank, their prices have gone up, so, Gordon's, all the places we get food from, have all went up. So, they say we should be able to prepare a meal for around $2 a person, and that's through the USDA. I've been lucky to get it to about $2.50 a person, and that's with getting my protein donated. So, the costs have really gone up, are real, and everybody's kind of facing that. So, there's that, and, going on in the environment, but then we're also keeping an eye on, any potential government shutdown. If that happens, then that will directly impact people's SNAP benefits, and could delay those services. So that could also create a huge influx for all of us food pantries if that were to happen. Same thing with the UAW strike. If that doesn't get resolved in a timely fashion, it's going to put more people out of work, and then it's going to turn them to us to make sure their families are being fed.
Diane, you're seeing increases at the St. Vincent de Paul pantry as well.
Yes, for the month of September, we had 202 clients come in, and that's the highest we've ever seen. And the holidays are coming up, and I just see that the numbers are just going to keep going up. For the 202 clients that came in with all their household members, that made 623 people that we fed just in the month of August. We haven't seen this high number ever. I've been the coordinator for 3 years, and I haven't low hundreds, but to get that many is a lot. And like Jim said, prices of everything increased for us too. And some of the things the extras that we were doing, we just can't afford to do them like we were. And our food bank that we get our food from, a lot of times doesn't have things that we need. We didn't have that before, but there's been shortages of things like peanut butter and cereal. So we buy it or we ask for donations. We are funded, our parishioners at Holy Family Parish are very good to us. They help us a lot. We get grants. We use the Meyer Simply Give. That helps us. We use those cards. We buy milk and eggs and produce and bread with those. So that helps us. Our clients like that they can get produce from us too is something that they don't always get from some of the others.
Diane, why don't you tell them a little bit more about the Meyer Simply Give program, because that's a way everybody in the room could help out, and some people may not be familiar with it.
Or Jim, you want to talk about it? Jim's involved in it. Jim.
Yeah, so the Daily Bread, we actually did a Simply Give campaign. So what Meyer actually does is they have $10 gift cards that are at their checkout, at all the checkout registers in the store. And so it's a rotation. So all the food pantries get a turn. So it's everyone's time. And so you can purchase those gift cards for $10. And when you do that, the money automatically goes to us in the form of food gift cards from Meyer. Meyer graciously will always usually do 2 Saturdays during every campaign that'll do a double match. So if you come in on a Saturday, and they'll announce it and tell you when they're doing it. So if you come in and you buy a $10 gift card, Meyer will put in $20. And then we get your 10, so that's a $30 donation that goes towards food for the food pantries. So that's a really amazing program that Meyer does provide for us. I mean, it's really vital. I mean, I think that's where a big chunk of my funding comes from to keep my pantry stocked. And I don't do the produce and the dairy products like you do.
Meyer always provides a 50 one-to-one match. So if you go in and buy the $10 gift card, they're going to give that $10 to the agency, plus they'll put in another 10. But then, like Jim says, during the time that's going on, I saw the note in our church bulletin this past week that St. Mary's is the donor for the next, I think it's 3 months, and there's one Saturday in there where they get the double match, so a $10 donation ends up being $30. So if you want to help, that's a simple, easy way to do it. Go to Meyer, buy a $10 card. It'll automatically turn into 20, and if you pick the right day to be there, it'll turn into 30.
And it can be higher. I mean, they can swipe that same card if you want to donate $50, they can swipe it 5 times, and it makes, you know, and a double day makes 150, and like that. So, and you can reuse the cards. And so, yes, it is very helpful to our pantries. There's 4 of them, and now we get 3 months, and now St. Mary's is included. So.
One thing I wanted to highlight is that Jim mentioned the South Michigan Food Bank is the food bank that's sort of assigned to this territory. And most of the highlighted pantries on that list you have in front of you utilize the food bank. There are rules and regulations around that. But what pantries have been saying for years, and it still holds true, that while community food drives come from the heart. People feel like if I can donate these canned goods, I'm helping hungry people in Lenawee County, and that's all well and good. But what we have found pantries to find the most helpful is actually cash donations, because they can use that money then to go to the food bank, and they could get, what did you say, Jim, for like 4 times the amount of food for that same dollar that you would have spent on that can of beans at a local grocer. So truly, the message we've been trying to promote through Hunger Free Lenawee is that really money is the best help for food pantries, because it's an efficient way to get more bang for that buck. And as you've heard, they're having to feed more people than ever before.
One nice thing with our food pantry, or food bank specifically, is it's out in Battle Creek. So Kellogg is out there. So they donate a lot of their cereal to our food bank. And so when they have it available, we can get a case of cereal for what you can buy a box of cereal for. So when that happens, that's why, if you were gonna go and spend $20 at the grocery store for us, $20 at the food bank's gonna bring in way more food than what you can go buy for us.
One other thought I'd share with you, I know several people in this room are donors to the Lenawee Cares campaign, and some of you are pillars. You could consider designating part of your donation, a good chunk of it hopefully, to one of these agencies, they then will get the money. They can take the money, go to the food pantry, or go to the food bank, and really stretch your dollars a lot. So consider that if you're making a donation to Illinois Cares or if you're a pillar there.
Okay, I have another way that they can donate. The food bank got a grant from WLEN Radio and asked us to be one of the pantries to be part of this. And we're going to be on October 24th. It's a Tuesday from 12 to 3 between the pharmacy and JR's. There's going to be a truck. We will be collecting canned goods, but mostly we would like to get monetary donations. So you could help us in what, I'm not sure what other pantries are involved with that, so, okay.
Good to know. If any of you have questions, they'll be glad to entertain your questions. Because it's being filmed, I'm gonna bring this mic around, and they're gonna ask for your name and the spelling of your last name before you ask a question. So just raise your hand, I'll bring the mic to you.
I actually have two, if I can sneak a second one in. I live in Tecumseh. Bush's does food drives. Does any of that stay in Lenawee County?
I'm not familiar with Bush's. I can't really say for sure.
I'm not sure either. Have you heard of the Bush's Food Drive?
No.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I may go in and talk to people. Yes. I have a question for somebody else then. I frequently hear when you talk about canned food drives that people don't have can openers, that you should always do pop. Is there a need for can openers that you could have at your pantries to hand out?
So, yeah, I do. I actually did purchase can openers. I had some grant money. So I did order a case of can openers because, some of our people who are, experiencing, food disparity are also unhoused. So to hand someone a can of tuna that have no ways to open it doesn't really help them. So it's actually one of the boxes on our form when they fill out what they're, for their pantry, is they can check a box that they need a can opener, and we just put it in with their stuff.
While you're thinking about ways, to truly help people, I also wanted to just sort of mention that there's a sort of a trend in food pantry work that really is starting to address on a really strong level the dignity and how to maintain the dignity of person for someone who is experiencing food insecurity. So it looks different in every single pantry, but I can assure you that the majority of pantries in Lenawee County operate some sort of choice pantry. For someone to be able to choose the food that they eat is one of the most basic human desires, right? And in many cases, it used to be that a food pantry would fill a box of food, whatever they happened to have donated, and that's what you got. Whether that was food you ate, whether it addressed your medical issues or your food allergies or your cultural preferences, it didn't matter. That was the food you were given, and people were expected to be grateful for that. That has changed. And it looks very different, as I say, in a lot of different pantries around the area. But more often than not, people can choose either from a list, like what Jim does in his pantry. We know that one of our pantries actually has an app that they designed where folks can download this free app and choose the food they want, and it is sent right to the pantry, and it is packed at that point and then delivered to their home. We're trying to make food access not something embarrassing and not something that people have to fear and be so reluctant to do. I know Jim brought some copies of his list that people access.
I just want to follow up on that just for a moment. I mentioned our weekend snack sack program earlier, but what I didn't mention is we have no idea which children are receiving those weekend snack sacks. The number of students that need them is given to us by the schools. We just pack up tubs for weekend snack sacks. They go to the schools pass them out discreetly. I don't know for sure how they're doing. Adrian, maybe Bob can help with that, but I know at Madison, they're just putting the kid's backpack in their locker, and no child is ever singled out that they're getting additional food. Bob, how's it happen in Adrian? Do you remember? Similar? All right. So again, it's done discreetly. It's not the goal of anybody to embarrass somebody or single somebody out that's getting additional assistance as needed. Other questions for our panel members?
You spoke about the monetary donations, but for service clubs like Rotary or interested individuals in the community, how can we also help in terms of volunteerism within organizations? What are some ways we can
Yes.
provide outreach?
Yes,
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Diane was just saying, I need to make sure they understand. Go ahead.
okay. Well, all our volunteers are retirees. We're all in our 70s and 80s. And so there are health issues, surgeries. So we have several workers, but a lot of them, or the spouses are out, and so we're always shorthanded. And so we could use more volunteers. We're open on Wednesdays and Fridays from 1 to 3. Younger, especially, we do our food bank truck every second Thursday of each month. At 10 o'clock it comes. This time we ordered a lot because they had a lot of things that weren't on there before that we were needing, so we have 2 trucks coming. So one at 10 and one at 10:30. So any extra help, especially next Thursday, would be greatly appreciated. You don't have to do heavy lifting if you can't. I have one of the guys, they'll fill up the cart. We use old Myers grocery carts, and then I push it in. And the guys will do the heavy lifting, and so anybody can help.
Diane, some people here may not be familiar where the St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry is located, so you want to share that?
St. Joseph campus is located on Ormsby Street, and we're off of Finch in the parking lot between Maple and...
Maple and Finch will get you there.
Yeah,
yes.
Maple and Finch, yeah.
So that food truck comes, their campus or their site on that second Thursday?
Yeah.
At 10 o'clock, so you can go there and help unload that truck. Then you could drive over to St. Mary's Church, their food pantry, because their truck shows up about 10:30, 11 o'clock. So you can help out 2 agencies in the same day.
I was wondering if you know of any other programs similar to maybe like Amazon Smile, which did end earlier this year, but you could designate a nonprofit when shopping online, and a portion of your purchase would go towards that nonprofit. Do you know of any other online shopping that has something like that, or do any of the even like local grocery stores for people that may only shop online for delivery or do their food service pickups? Do they have?
So one thing is the Meyer Simply Give, you can add the Simply Give card to your order if you do online. You can go just type in the Simply Give and it'll let you add it to your cart. So you can do it online as well. As of right now, I don't really know of any agency extending that to us. Amazon Smile was one of the primary ones, so that was a little disappointing to see it go away.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I know that you could contribute to this South Michigan Food Bank. You could do that online and virtually, and you can designate certainly a county and maybe even a specific pantry, if you wanted to do it that way, we can get the specific information for you.
Yeah, and I'm sure each individual pantry you can always donate, individually. For example, you can go on my website, dailybreadlunaway.org, and it will guide you to make a donation right through my website.
You can designate local food pantry. I know I've done that with the food bank. There's a code number that each pantry has, and you have to put it in. And there's a certain time of the year where the different food pantries have their donations upped by the food bank.
Not anymore. They
That's over with?
discontinued that.
Well, that's it's
In
another
our food
unfortunate
pantry.
change then. Okay.
I'm sorry.
But anyways, you can designate the local food banks or pantries.
L2030. That's ours.
L2030 is the St. Vincent de Paul.
2040, Daily Bread.
There you go.
There you go.
My question is a little bit different. You help feed our hungry individuals. Do you do anything to help them kind of fish for themselves?
So I do in the way of making referrals to other agencies. So when my patrons come in, sometimes they have more than one issue with basic needs. So it may not only be food, it could be housing, it could be several different issues. So that's one thing that I do is I have a resource guide available that when people come in and they need a service that I don't necessarily provide, I give them a resource guide that lists all of our nonprofits in Lenawee County, and I show them how to use that to get a hold of the agencies that will address those needs. Like for instance, like diapers, Community Action Agency and Care Pregnancy Center are the two agencies I'll refer to patrons to get something like that.
I would just add that while the food pantries are considered emergency food, right, it was never intended to be a way of life. But unfortunately, for a lot of our citizens, they're just in a cycle. And so I know through SNAP-Ed and Extension, our educational opportunities for people are really targeting folks that are in a certain income level, that it's based on the USDA My Plate, healthy eating. So we teach basic nutrition information, we teach cooking skills, we teach budgeting skills, we teach shopping skills in a wide variety of curricula for varying needs. So we might be in the schools teaching certain levels of things. I'm in senior centers. We have a very wildly popular curriculum called Cooking for One. And it teaches skill sets and hacks and hints and tips for how to maintain a healthy eating style, whatever that means to you personally, when you're just cooking for yourself or maybe you and another person. We teach, I teach life skills and nutrition and cooking with our Goodwill Industries and their LINK program. So our citizens that are experiencing developmental difficulties or cognitive impairments, they are learning skills as well. I'm also working with community gardens so that people are learning how to grow their own food. That is actually making a big resurgence. There's interest there because we all experienced during COVID, the pandemic, food scarcity it impacted everyone, right? Not just our low-income citizens. So Extension does a lot in that lane. Hopefully that into
Saw that community garden.
yeah, we toured
On the east side.
The Erie Street Community Garden. There's some work at the neighborhood levels where folks are coming together and finding ways to grow food.
So my agency's on the east side of Adrian, and they did do a community garden over on the east side that encourages the families to come work together in the garden, educate on how to keep vegetables and grow them, and how to properly wash them and get them prepared for use. And so that is something that the neighborhood has decided to do that I think is very helpful in teaching that.
Do you get any volunteers from the people you serve?
Interesting question.
Yeah, I do actually. There's a lot of people who, may have come in to use the daily bread in years past, and, they needed it at a point in their life when they were trying to get established, or maybe they were in a transition for a career, different things like that. And they they do want to come and give back once they, get on their feet. I've had a few of them call and just say, I've had to come in a year or two ago, and things are better for me now, and I would really like to come in and give my time and give back in any way I can. So yeah, we do.
And I think I mentioned before, but if I didn't, I want you to know that there are community individuals that sit at our Hunger Free Lenawee meetings, people that currently or very recently have used food pantries, and I can't tell you how valuable it is to have their thoughts and their experience and their voice at that table every month.
Their input's really important, and that kind of circles back to the whole dignity thing when using a food pantry. And what I had passed out this is an example. This is the form that I use at the Daily Bread. So if you were to come in and you needed to utilize the food pantry, the first thing we just ask is how many people are in your household. Because depending on the size of the household depends on the amount of food that you get. And those are set by the My Plate standards through the food bank. So all the stuff on this list, this is stuff that I try to have available at all times in my pantry. And this is a full page of items. So you can imagine how difficult that could be to try to maintain that. But we want to give people choices on what they want to eat. Especially, fruits and vegetables and grains and stuff. We're trying to make sure all the food groups are covered. But we also know how some kids they're just not going to eat the green beans. They're just not. So if that means you need corn instead, I would rather you take the corn and feed your kid. To me, they all cost the same for me. So I want what you are going to use the most and what's going to help you. So you get to come in and actually check these things off, and then we offer you a meal while you're waiting. So you can get a meal, eat, fill this out, and then you just bring it up to any one of my staff, and we'll go back and fill this while you wait, and then we'll just bring it right out to you, and you can take it when you go. So we try to make the process as easy as we can. We don't try to make you line up and herd you here or there. We try to make it as discreet and easy as possible for you to come in and utilize our services.
When you purchase your large amounts of food, do you consider like cultural choices or foods that are culturally specific?
Yes, we know that there's a lot of Hispanic people in Adrian, so we have some, but not probably as much as we should. We can't really get that from the food bank, so it'd be something that we would have to purchase. We do have on Sunday, on the third Sunday of each month, our youth group does a pantry, and from 5 to 7, and there is a bilingual interviewer to help on that day. So, we do have some like gluten-free things, and pretty much know which clients need that, so that we save that for them. And we do confidentiality. Our clients cannot be a volunteer to work in the pantry, and it's just minimum contact. They're not in a group in a room. They come in one at a time, and we don't have them all in there. Our process is they come in, they grab a number by the door, they wait in their car, and then they watch for their number, and they come in one at a time. Our door person asks them, like the produce we have, we can't give them everything, so we give them a choice of 3 different things. which bananas is usually the most popular, and that's one of the cheaper things that we can buy a lot of at Meijer's. And other things that we have, if it's different and unusual, that's not an everyday, we make sure we ask, because so that we're not giving it something to someone that doesn't want it. And so they do get a choice of a lot of the stuff that we have. We also ask them, you know, is there something you want or something you don't want? So we try to keep up with the needs of our clients.
I'm sorry if you already said this, but would that be considered like special order food, or would that be like what Jim said, you know, we can switch out the corn for the others?
Yeah, we do it like that too and stuff, yeah.
You know, so to kind of answer your first question for the, you know, on behalf of the Daily Bread is, we do the best we can with that. It's hard, you know, just because with, like we said before with the food bank, they give, you know, what's available through them is what was donated to them. So it's just a matter of, it's kind of like a grab and go. Whatever you can get that fits your pantry is what you get. But, you know, as you see on the form that I passed out, there's the, you know, Spanish behind each item to, you know, because we try to be mindful of that. Where the Daily Bread tries to really incorporate that is in our hot daily meals. We try to mix around the different types of meals we make every week. So my staff and I, we sit down and we plan our meal for the following week. So we know a week ahead what our meals are. And so we do sit down and try to, you know, say, you know, have we, you know, done a pasta? Have we done, you know, like tacos? Or have we done meatloaf? Have we done, you know, so we try to, you know, pick foods that, you know, would normally be something that you would maybe have at home. We try to, you know, mimic the home cooked meal as best we can, you know, because for some of our patrons, that may be the only actual hot meal they're going to get for the day. So we do our best for that, for sure.
Do you receive any donations from any local farms for any like surplus of, you know, like right now it's apple season, or you have farms donating apples and?
So absolutely. One thing that we get is, so the correctional facility here in Adrian has a garden that that their inmates put together and take care of as part of, you know, the retraining and life skills that they're getting while they're there. So they'll go and they actually pick all their produce and they bring it to us. They have one of the employees come, and it was every Wednesday. They would, during the summer, bring us some produce. I think they give everyone a turn. It was just the Daily Bread's turn this time. So you know, there's that. There's Promedica Farm. A lot of times Promedica Farm, they offer us to come out and take what we need. I know last week they were begging people to come get tomatoes. And so we did. We went and got some because, again, you know, with us making food, you know, my needs are a little bit different than what, you know, hers would be. You know, sometimes, like, you know, the big number 10 cans somehow get thrown in the mix of donations. And so a lot of the pantries will call me and say, hey, Jim, do you want those? Because, you know, to give someone a huge can of green beans in a pantry is not really practical. So they'll offer that to me because we'll open it and serve lunch with it. You know, we'll use it that way. So we work together in that regard. And so to answer your question, yeah, you know, a lot of the farmers in different places call us. I have farmers that just show up at my door and ring my doorbell and say, hey, I have peppers, and you know, and how many do you want? And so, you know, we do get our hands on it from a lot of the local farmers. I think more than some counties probably do.
And what about the program with the hunters?
So yeah, so that's another program that is utilized in Lenawee County. It's called the Hunters Helping Lenawee. And that's a program that's ran through the Community Foundation. So what you can do there is, so hunters can actually go out and then they can, say they hunt a deer, they can have that taken to one of the processors that are approved by the foundation, and then the foundation will actually pay for the entire processing of the meat. They'll put it in 1 pound packages and make it into burger for us, and then they'll freeze it, and then the foundation will get a phone call saying, hey, we have X amount of pounds ready to be picked up. And then they'll call start calling the pantries and say, hey, do you want it? Do you want, so then we all take turns to go get some of it. So that's another really good resource that we utilize, because protein's one of the harder things to get our hands on.
I don't know if you know that the 4-H program has Meet the Need. So at the county fair, each year, if you go and you purchase an animal from one of these 4-H'ers, you have that option to get that animal processed and donated to the food banks as well. That program is called Meet the Need. Yep. So there's a couple of good ones.
We just got some pork from that.
Yeah.
They had it processed and they donated it to us.
I was wondering about storage. Like if you had frozen hamburger or meats, like you say, protein, I'm like Diane, do you normally just hold, give boxed things and canned goods, or do they get where do you have this? Because you have to be careful it doesn't spoil.
Yeah, so yes, that's an excellent point, is food is perishable and it only lasts so long, and sometimes donations, that are dropped off to us, sometimes it's food, the time's running out on it and it needs to be used. So that's one thing where, I have the benefit of a kitchen that we're making meals 5 days a week. So I can open stuff and use it and get it used up before it isn't good. That's why my pantry is more focused on all the shelf stable items, whereas like hers does more of the produce and the dairy products. It all comes down to, I just don't have the room to store dairy and produce, because I have to, freezer space and, refrigeration space I have at the Daily Breads for my meal program. So that's kind of.
There's sort of a dream that Hunger Free Lenawee has. And the dream is something we've been calling a food hub. We love the model that Monroe County has with their, I think it's called the Monroe County Opportunities something. The MCOP, you're familiar. And that is one giant food storage facility, and all the food pantries go there to pick up their food. It eliminates each pantry needing a huge amount of storage on their own. We say it's a dream because that requires a lot of resource and a lot of, all of the people that attend Hunger Free Lenawee meetings, our email list is more than 50 people. There are probably 15 to 20 of us that gather each month. We're all volunteers. We have other jobs that we do. So to run a food resource center is not really in anyone's job description, so we say it's a dream. But what we're doing right now is trying to establish ourselves as kind of a virtual food hub. We're hoping that food resource in the county might think to check with us first. During the pandemic, there was a lot of food distribution coming into this county, and much of it was never run through pantries. No. And so we were hearing horrible stories about dairy boxes being just left behind because they couldn't distribute them to the people that really needed them, or that people were getting them that didn't really need them. And we just wished that someone had kind of run that through us, because we could have absolutely helped them distribute that better. So I guess that would be kind of our closing thought, is that there is an organized situation in this county surrounding food insecurity. We know that every food bank and food pantry is running thin on not only resource, but just human energy. They all said, please tell them that we are tired. Yes. We need help. They need volunteers, and of course they could use funding. So I guess that would be kind of the closing message.
It's a great closing message. we've got a lot of good information this morning. Also, we've got some very practical ideas about how we can get involved and what we can do to help. Do a simple thing, like the next time you're in the Meijer and you see Ben Negron, walk up and thank him for the program where they're providing the 50-50 match. Consider cash donations. We found out this morning those are much more valuable and get them a lot further than a can of food. Show up a week from Thursday and Diane will put you to work for not more than an hour unloading that food truck. I've helped with a few of those over at the St. Mary's campus a few times. It's not hard work. Anybody can do it. There's just a lot of ways to get involved. So we as individuals or as our 2 Rotary clubs in town, we can't stop poverty, but we do have the power to have an impact on the effect that poverty is having on our neighbors and our community members. So please consider doing what you can. How about a round of applause for Diane and Vicki and Jim for being with us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we appreciate the guests that were with us this morning too. Time to wrap up, and we end our Rotary meetings with a 4-way toss. And for those of you who are not familiar, it's on the banner right behind me. Of all the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.